singularity in the universe would simply have been smoothed out by the expansion as the weakling in a balloon are smoothed away when you blow it up. Thus, the present smooth, the uniform state of the universe could have evolved from many different non-uniform initial states. In such a universe in which the expansion was accelerated by a cosmological constant rather than slowed down by the gravitational attraction of the matter, there would be energy time for light to travel from one region to another in the early universe. This could provide a solution to the problem raised earlier of why different regions in the early universe have the same properties. Moreover, the rate expansion of the universe would automatically become very close to the critical rate determined by the energy destiny of the universe. This could then explain why the rate of expansion is still so close to the critical rate, without having to assume that the initial rate of expansion of the universe are very carefully chosen. The idea of inflation could also explain why there is so much matter in the universe. There are something like 10 billion, 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 one with 80 zeros after particles in the region of the universe that we can observe. Where did they all come from? The answer is that the quantum theory particle can be created out of the energy in the form of particle-antiparticle pairs. But that just raises the question of where the energy came from. The answer is the total energy of the universe is exactly zero. The matter in the universe is made out of positive energy. However, the matter is all attracting itself by gravity. Two pieces of metal that are close to each other have less energy than the same two pieces of a long way apart, because you have to expand energy to separate them against the gravitational force that is pulling them together. Thus, in a sense, the gravitational field has negative energy. In the case of a universe that's approximately uniform in space, one can show that this negative gravitational energy exactly cancels the positive energy represented by the matter. So, the total energy of the universe is zero. Now, 2 by 0 is also zero. Thus, the universe can double the amount of positive matter energy and also double the negative gravitational energy without violation of the conservation of energy. This does not happen in the normal expansion of the universe, in which the matter energy density goes down as the universe gets bigger. It does happen, however, in the implantational expansion because the energy density of the supercooled state remains constant while the universe expands. And the universe doubles in size, the positive matter energy and the negative gravitational energy both double. So the total energy remains zero. During the inflationary phase, the universe increases its size by a very large amount. Thus the total amount of energy available to make a particle become very large. So Gush had remarked, it said that there is no such thing as free lunch, but the universe is the ultimate free lunch. The universe is not expanding in a implantational way today, thus there has to be some mechanism that would eliminate the very large effective cosmological constant, and so change the rate of expansion from an accelerated one to one that slows down by gravity, as we have today. In the inflationary expansion, one might expect that eventually the symmetry between the forces would be broken, such that supercooled water always freezes in the end. The extra energy of the unbroken symmetry state would then be released and would reheat the universe to a temperature just below the critical temperature for symmetry between the forces. The universe would then go on to expand and cool, just like the hot Big Bang model. But there would now be an expansion of why the universe was expanding exactly the critical rate and why different regions had the same temperature. In Gu's original proposal of the phase transition was supposed to occur suddenly, rather like appearance ice crystal in very cold water. The idea was that the bubble of the new phase of broken symmetry would have formed in an old phase, like bubbles of steam surrounded by boiling water. The bubbles was supposed to expand and meet up with each other until the whole universe was in the new phase. The trouble was, as I and several other principals pointed out, that the universe was expanding so fast that even if the bubble grew in the speed of light, they would be moving away from each other and so could not join up. The universe would be left in a very non-uniform state, with some regions still having symmetry between the different forces. Such a model of a universe would not correspond to that we see. In October 1981, I went to Moscow for a conference on quantum gravity. After the conference, I gave a seminar on the inflationary model and the problem in the Stenberg Astronomy Institute. Before this, I had got someone else to give my lecture for me because most people couldn't understand my voice. But there are not time to prepare this seminar, so I gave it to myself, either one of my graduate students repeating my word. I worked well and gave me much more contact with my audience. In the audience was a young Russian Andrei Linde from the Lebedev Institute of Moscow. He said that the difficulty is the bubbles not joining up could avoid. If the bubbles were so big that our region of the universe is all contained inside a single bubble. In order for this to work, the change for symmetry to broken symmetry must have taken place very slowly inside the bubble. But this is quite possible according to grand universal theory. Linde's idea of a slow breaking of symmetry was very good, but I later realized that his bubble would have to have been bigger than the size of the universe at the time. I showed instead the symmetry would have broken everywhere at the same time rather than just inside the bubble. This would lead to uniform universe as we observe. It was very excited by this idea and discussed it with one of my students, Ian Moss. As a friend of Linde, I was rather impressed. However, when I was later sent the paper by a scientific journal and asked whether it would be suitable for the publication, I replied that there was this flaw about the bubbles being bigger than the universe. But the basic idea of the slow breaking of the symmetry was very good. I recommend that the paper being published as it was because it will take Linde several months to correct it, since anything he sent to the West would have to pass by Soviet censorship, which was neither very skillful nor very quick with scientific paper. Instead, I wrote a short paper with Ian Moss in the same journal in which we point out this problem with a bubble and showed how it could be resolved. The day after I got back from Moscow, I sent out to Philadelphia, where I was due to receive a medal from the Franklin Institute. My secretary, Judy Fella, had used her not inconsiderable charm to persuade British Airways to give herself and me free seat on a Concorde as a publicity venture. However, I was held up on my way to the airport by heavy rain. I missed the plane. Nevertheless, I got to Philadelphia in the end and received my medal. I was then asked to give a seminar on in the inflationary universe as direct universe in Philadelphia. I gave the same seminar about the problem of inflationary universe just as in Moscow. A very similar idea to Linde's was put forth independently a few months later by Paul Steinhardt and Andres Albert of the University of Pennsylvania. They are now given joint credit and Linde for what's called the new inflationary model, based on the idea of slow breaking of symmetry. The old inflationary model was Good's original suggestion of the fast symmetry breaking with the formation of a bubble. The new inflationary model was a good attempt to explain why the universe is the way it is. However, I and several other people showed that, at least in its original form, it predicted much greater variation in the temperature of the microwave background radiation than are observed. Later work has also cast doubt whether there could be a phase transition in the very early universe of the kind required. In my personal opinion, the new inflationary model is now dealt as a scientific theory, although a lot of people do not seem to have heard of its demise and are still writing papers as if it were viable. A better model, called the chaotic inflationary model, was put forward by Linde in 1983. In this, there is no phase station or supercooling. Instead, there is a spin zero field, which, because of the quantum fluctuation, would have a large value in some region of the early universe. The energy of the field in this region would have behave like a cosmological constant. It would have a repulsive gravitational effect, and thus make those regions expand in an inflationary manner. As they expand, the energy of the field in them would slowly decrease until the inflationary expansion changes to an expansion like that in the hot Big Bang model. One of these regions would become what we now see as the observable universe. This model has all the advantages of the earlier inflationary model, but it does not depend on dubious phase transition, and it can, moreover, give a reasonable size for the fluctuation in the temperature of the microwave background that agree with observation.